we taping? Yes, we are. Okay, so we're on question number 23. Okay, question 23. So it says, show that the number is a 0 of f of x. I
can't read which one is which.
Well, you see where it says 23-26?
No. Wait, yeah.
Okay, the very first one's 23. It goes 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay, there, you can't see the numbers there, but the first one, x to the fourth plus 7x to the third and so forth. Okay, is 0, okay, of the multiplicity and expressed as a product. Okay, so what they're saying here is this. Let's write it down. 23, we have f of x equals x4 plus 7x3, 7x3 plus 13x squared, minus 3x minus 18. Okay, and they tell us that it's negative 3 multiplicity 2. Let's put that off to the side here. Negative 3 multiplicity of 2. Okay, so they tell us that. So they want you to show that, and then they want you to write it as a product of linear factors. You want to factor this thing, okay? It's fourth degree, so there's going to be 4 zeros, okay? They're not going to be 4 distinct zeros, though, because one of them is a multiplicity of 2. So at most, it's going to be 3 distinct zeros, three different zeros, okay? So let me ask you this. Let's use basic, forget about all this complicated stuff here. If I ask you, for example, is 3 a factor of 12?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it goes into 12
Evenly, 4 times, evenly, okay? Is 2 a factor of 11? No, why?
Doesn't go into
Right, it has a remainder, okay? When you divide it out, it has a remainder, okay? If it's a factor, when you divide it out, it has no remainder, okay? So what they're saying here is they're telling you, they want you to show it, so it's true, okay, it's true, that negative 3 is a factor of that. It's a 0, okay? So it goes into it evenly, okay? It divides into it evenly. Well, how many times? Let me ask you this. Is 2 a factor of, listen carefully, you don't have to listen to the whole thing carefully, but is 2 a factor of 27,286?
Yes.
Why?
Even.
It's even. How many times does it go into it?
No clue.
I have no idea either. A bunch, okay? The only way to figure out how many times is you actually have to divide it out, okay? So, if negative 3 is a factor of that, it goes into it, okay? But I don't know how many times, so we actually have to divide it out. There's 2 different ways we know how to divide. Long division, synthetic division. What would you guys like to do? I agree, synthetic. So, this is where, just watch carefully, okay? Negative 3 is a 0. Just watch, just don't write this down. Negative 3 is a 0. So a factor would be what? For example, if I give you this right here, x plus 8, x minus 7 equals 0. X plus 8 is a factor, x minus 7 is a factor, negative 8 and positive 7 are the zeros. So if 7 is a 0, x minus 7 is a factor. So if negative 3 is a 0, what's that? You're leaving something out.
X minus 3.
Not x minus 3, x plus 3. So just watch. X plus 3 is a factor. So we're dividing this by, we're taking all this, don't write this out, divide by x plus 3. So we're going to do synthetic division. What goes in the box? If we're dividing by x plus 3. Negative 3. So rather than have negative 3, write the factor of x plus 3, then take the opposite. If you take the opposite of something twice, what have you done?
You get the first.
You just take the first number. So just plug in that number, negative 3. Okay? So kind of a long-winded explanation to say just plug in that number. Now, if we do it right, if it's a factor, and it is because it says it was, this thing better have a remainder of what? If it's a factor, the remainder's got to be what? So a remainder of 0. Okay? So top line is 1, 7, 13, negative 3, negative 18. We drop down the 1, times to negative 3, add to 4. Times to negative 12, add to 1. Times to negative 3, add to negative 6. Times to negative 3, we get positive 18, we get 0. Does it look good? Or not, what'd you say? Yeah, why? It ends in 0. Now, that doesn't mean we did it right. It doesn't mean we definitely did it right. But if you got something other than 0, you definitely did it wrong. I'm sure we did it right, though, okay? Now, here's the deal, though. And I haven't told you guys this, okay? We haven't done this yet, ever, because we didn't even do this in Algebra 2 because of the lockdown. We said negative 3 is a 0, but it's a multiplicity of, it's twice, okay? So I did synthetic division with negative 3. Any idea what we're going to do now? Negative 3 is a 0 multiplicity of 2, so we do it again. You do it again. So right here, you know what goes in the box? Negative 3 again. Now this time, don't go any further yet. First time it ended with a 0. This time it better end with, any guesses?
Why do you put -3 again?
Because it's twice. If it was a multiplicity of 3, we'd do it 3 times. Okay? So this time, the first time it ended up with, I'll give you a huge clue, it ended up with 1 0. The second time we do it through, it better end up with 2 zeros. Better than 2 zeros. Okay? So let's do this. Drop your 1. 1 times -3 is -3. Add these to 1 times to -3. Add to -2 times to 6, add to 0, times to 0, add to 0. Feel pretty good about this?
Yeah.
It ends in 2 zeros, okay? Be careful on this. I'll tell you this one more time. We did synthetic division twice. And the reason why we did it twice is because it was a multiplicity of 2, okay? We did it twice. So, when I label these, what's 0 right here? That's the what? The remainder. What's 0 right here? Huh?
The normal number.
Why? I said it just a second ago. Because we did it twice. So we have 2 remainders of 0. Now what's -2?
Number.
That's the number, and then 1 is the x and the x squared. Okay? So, what we have here is this. We have x squared plus x minus 2. That factors further. Let's factor this thing. Okay? 2 sets of parentheses. X squared is x and x. To make it negative, we plus and minus. How do you times to -2 but add to +1? +2 and -1. And we're not quite done. We're almost done. I want it all listed, all of the whole thing factored out, okay? If I FOIL this out, we will not get that, okay? Because we're forgetting about -3 multiplicity 2. So what else do I need to put in there? X plus 3 multiplicity 2, though, so x plus 3 squared. That's x plus 2, x minus 1, x plus 3 squared. So what are the other two? We're done with this, but what would the other 2 zeros be? -2 and +1. All right, one more. So this isn't any harder than last worksheet. Last worksheet we did synthetic division. Now we're doing synthetic division twice. Except for on number 20 or 25. We're not going to do it twice. We're going to do it what?
6 times.
Not 6 times. 5 times.
Because that's multiplicity.
Multiplicity of 5. We're going to do it 5 times. Which, it's going to take a little bit, but so it's going to end in 5 zeros, okay? And how many total zeros are there? 6. So we already know 5 of them. It's 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. We just got to find the, when we do it 5 times, it's going to be a lot of synthetic division, okay? But we're going to be pretty much done once we do that. So we have, what goes in the little box? 1, +1. Okay, then we have 1, -4, 5, -5, 4, -1. Tell you what, before we go any further, see if you guys remember this from Algebra 2. Could that last one, we said there's 6 total zeros, 6 of them. The first 5 of them are 1. Could the last one be imaginary? See if you guys remember this from Algebra 2. Could the last one be an imaginary one or not? No. Why? Because imaginary answers always come in pairs. They come in pairs. You remember that now, kind of? No, not at all? Okay. They always come in pairs.
I just knew you were going.
Okay, they come in pairs. All right, so let's drop this down. 1 times 1 is 1. Add to -3. Times to -3, add to 2. Times to 2, add to -3. Times to -3, add to 1. Times to 1, add to 0. If this didn't end in 0, you shouldn't keep going forward. You made a mistake somewhere, okay? So don't be like, oh, close enough. You know, no, it's not. So we do it again. We're going to do it 5 times. This time we better end in 2 zeros. Drop the 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Add to -2. Times to -2, add to 0. Times to 0, add to negative. I messed up. Did I mess up? this up somewhere?
I was kind of confused because.
5,
you
4,
didn't-
3, 2, 1, negative 3.
You didn't put
Oh.
zero for a power of 3.
6, 5, 4.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I didn't. Who said that? Why didn't you tell me that earlier?
I was like, maybe.
I did not know. I do at times do that to see if you catch, but I don't keep on going. If you guys don't catch it, I do that on purpose sometimes to see if you catch it. But if I keep going, yeah. That's what. Okay, I did do that on purpose. No, I didn't. Okay, to point out that just because it ends in 0, you may or may not have done it right, and we didn't do it right. I messed up. It goes x to the 6th, x to the 5th, x to the 4th. There is no x to the 3rd. Is that the only one missing? Yes. So between 5 and negative 5, yeah. I'm going to start over. I'm sorry, guys.
No big deal.
All right. Do you understand, though, why I kind of paused there? And I knew how I knew I messed up?
Because it is.
It wasn't going to end in 2 zeros. I saw it wasn't going to end in 2 zeros. So some of there was a mistake. So 5, 0, negative 5, 4, negative 1. Okay, do I have everything now? 0, negative 5, 4, negative 1. Okay, so let's try this again. Drop your 1 times to 1, add to negative 3. Times to negative 3, add to 2. Times to 2, add to 2. Times to 2, add to negative 3. Times to negative 3, add to 1. Times to 1, add to 0. Okay, so ends in 0, that's good. Then we're going to do 1 again. This time it better end in 2 zeros. Drop your 1 again. Times to 1, add to negative 2. Times negative 2, add to 0. Times 0, add to 2. Times 2, add to negative 1. Times negative 1, add to 0. Times 0, add to 0. So it ends in 2 zeros, and that's good. And I know that in Algebra 2 classes last year, I always had some people say, oh, we got a 0 over here too. That's a good thing too. It's not a good thing, it's not a bad thing either, but what really matters is not that you just have some zeros, but it better end in 2 zeros. If there's zeros over here, good, but it doesn't really have to. It doesn't really help or hurt it. Let's do it a third time. Better end in 3 zeros this time. Drop your 1, times to 1, add to negative 1. Times negative 1, add to negative 1. Times negative 1, add to positive 1. Times to 1, add to 0, times 0, add 0, times 0, add 0. Looks like, yeah. All right, we're done 3 times, we gotta do it 5 times. 2 more to go. This time better end in 4 zeros. Drop your 1, times to 1, add to 0. Times to 0, add to negative 1. Times negative 1, add to 0. Times 0, add 0. Times 0, add 0. Times 0, add 0. 4 zeros, that's what we want. For the last time. Put a 1 in. Drop our 1, times to 1, add to 1. Times to 1, add to 0, times 0, add 0, times 0, add 0, times add, times add. It ends in 5 zeros, that's good. This 0 way over here is the remainder. What's the 0 next to it?
Remainder.
Oh, one after that.
Remainder.
How many remainders are there? Did it 5 times. The first 5 are all remainders. Remainder. This is the number. This is the x. So what the heck does that say? What's 11000000? X plus 1. So, in factor form, we have x plus 1 times x minus 1 to the 5th. So, one of the zeros was 1. What was the other 0 that we just found? Negative 1. It's 6th degree. Where does it bounce? Does it bounce at 1 or negative 1 or both or neither? Neither. Why? Well, the raise to the 5th and first powers, which are both
Did
odd.
you figure out last night why?
No, I never even thought about it until you just said that. I'm going to think about it here because I'm done and you guys are going to be working hopefully. So anyhow, yeah, I'll think about that. All right, the rest of the time's yours to work, guys. We do have a homework quiz on Wednesday.